Hey everyone, this is Tim from the Dropkick Murphys. May the rock be with you.
G'day, Tim. How are you, mate?
Good, how are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you for a Saturday morning. Nice and early.
Of course. Friday
Welcome to May the
evening
Rock be
for
with you,
me.
buddy.
Thank you.
No worries at all. So, we're here because you're headed to Australia for a string of shows with Dropkick Murphys, of course. So, for those that haven't had the pleasure of seeing the band live, how would you best describe your live show?
That's a good question. It's a very sweaty and energetic, um, and yeah, it's a sweaty, energetic, sort of Irish music based rock and roll show. If that does if that does anything.
That works for me. But my first experience seeing you guys was back in 2013, and I was blown away. The crowds here are absolutely crazy. What do you think it is about the band that instills this kind of passion that I saw and continue to see every time I see you live?
Um, you know, I suppose I can only speak as somebody who was a fan of the band before I joined. And there was just something, apart from the fact that it was a different thing in the punk world as far as the sort of melding of the punk rock stuff with the Irish tinged songs. Um, I don't know. There was just something incredibly human about the band. It was like, I don't know. There were a bunch of guys like me that just so happened to be in a band that was awesome. I don't know. Maybe that's part of the appeal that all of us, if we weren't playing in the band that was performing at the venue that night, we'd probably be sweeping the place up after the show was done. Um, but I don't know. Luckily, we have some of the most loyal and best fans in the world who have stuck around with us for the past 28 years. Um, and I wish I could put my finger on what it was, but I can't. I don't think.
Well, it works. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. Now, of course, we get to see you up on stage and we know what's coming, right? But there must be a buzz every time a song like I'm Shipping Up to Boston starts. Tell us about what you see when you look out to the crowd when that one kicks in.
That's people will often ask if we get tired of playing a song like that, our quote unquote hit. And the answer is no, simply because of getting to see that reaction from people when we play it every night. It's it's probably the most popular song in our catalog, arguably. And so there's that a lot of times we start playing it and you look out and you see that glimmer of recognition on people's faces who might have just started wondering what they were doing there in the first place. And then shipping up to Boston starts and they're like, oh yeah, I know this one. Um, but so the it's definitely we definitely get a good crowd reaction out of that every night when we play it. That's for sure.
This is one of those songs. Now, Australia is obviously a great market for you guys. Do you have a favorite memory of playing down here?
We have a lot of good memories of playing down there. We did a show, my first trip to Australia with the band. It must have been 2004 maybe. And I don't remember which city it was, but we got to play a show with Rose Tattoo.
Hmm.
And that was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, apart from the fact that the guys in the band, all of the guitar players and bass player were about the smallest of them was about 6'4", and then Angry Anderson, the singer, was probably about 5'2",
Yeah.
and so that was arresting. And then watching him absolutely destroy out there with that voice, and then they finished their last song, and he walked off the stage, and as soon as he got past the threshold of the side of the stage, he turned and just barfed all over the place. Not from like being wasted or anything, just from the sheer force of his singing that he would just spent the past 30 minutes doing. Uh, so that was incredible. And then there was another show. It might have been that same trip where we were playing "It's a Long Way to the Top" by AC/DC at the show that night, and Matt Kelly's drum fill caught on fire,
Hmm.
and every time he hit the kick drum, uh, a flame would shoot out of it would shoot out of the front of the speaker, um, and that was fucking amazing as
That's
well.
something. You try to
Yeah.
replicate that? That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to make it part of our show after that. We were like, come on, somebody just, I don't know, light the thing on fire every night. It didn't work out as well as we had hoped. The best time that it happened was when it happened by accident. So
Give Gene Simmons a call, get some tips from Kiss or something. They might be able to help you out.
exactly, yeah.
There you go. Now, in September, the band released a new single called Sirens. Now, after this week, it couldn't be more real if you listen to the lyrics. Give us a bit of a story behind this track and how it relates so much to real life at the moment.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I guess it's fairly self-explanatory. It's a song about sort of the divide that it now exists in the world, and how, I mean, obviously it's a lot of it is mostly political, the things that have driven people apart, people who were best friends, family members, things like that, are all being divided pretty heavily, based on the current political climate. And it's just, I think the song is sort of lamenting that that's something that everybody seems to be dealing with these days.
Mm, great song, very powerful. So, but
Thank
yeah. Now, is that the start of more to come? Can we expect new music or an album sooner rather than later?
Absolutely. Once we finish this Australian tour, we're coming home for Thanksgiving, and then we immediately go into the studio to start working on our next full length. Um, we've actually got a couple songs in the can already, obviously Sirens being one of them.
Mm.
And yeah, so we're going to spend December finishing a bunch of new songs.
Yeah, nice. I know the last couple have had that Woody Guthrie lyrical side of it. Are we moving away from that and going back to the band doing the records? How are we doing it this time?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. The Guthrie thing, that was so fun to do. But I mean, we ended up putting out two acoustic albums of previously unused Woody Guthrie lyrics.
Mm.
We recorded both of those albums all got recorded at the same time. Um, uh, and and yeah, so now we're back to the good old fashioned Dropkick Murphys albums.
Okay. Now, you've been involved with the band for over 20 years now. Let's look back when you first joined the band. What do you remember about that time?
Um, like I said, I was a fan of the band before I ever joined. And um, I was in college at the time. I had always played in bands growing up and stuff, and I always wanted to be a musician ultimately. Um, but I was in college at the time, and a friend of mine who I had I had I had known for quite a while had ended up joining the Dropkicks as a guitar player. His name was Mark Harrell. And when he was 17 years old, he joined the band. And he and I remained good friends, and he and I would play music together all the time. And it got to a point where the Dropkicks were looking to sort of expand the sound a little bit. And Mark knew that I had the ability to play whatever sort of weird Irish instruments I could get my hands on. Um, at that point, I played like tin whistle and accordion and stuff. And and so luckily, I was just kind of in the right place at the right time, and was able to join up with the band doing at first all that sort of utility stuff, banjo, tin whistle, mandolin, accordion. And then a couple of years later, when Mark, who was the lead guitar player, left the band, um, I just sort of moved over to lead guitar. And then we got a friend of ours to come in and play the banjo and all that stuff, Jeff DeRosa. And yeah, it was super exciting at the time. The first thing I ever did was the Warp Tour, which
Hmm.
was a pretty classic thing to have be my first my
Yeah.
first outing with the band. And so yeah, summer of 2003, I spent I would sell merch all day, and then I would run to the stage and play accordion or mandolin or something on a couple songs, and then I would run back to the merch tent and sell shirts the rest of the day. Um, and uh, and then luckily that was the only trip where I had to do that. But yeah, it's the fact that it was 21 years ago is absolutely insane.
Mm,
It's gone by like that.
crazy. That's what time does. Now, also looking back, it can be very easy to say what can change over time. What's the one thing though that's always remained the same about Dropkick Murphys?
Um, I mean, we've always, I can say that um, throughout the band's trajectory, as far as I've like I said, I joined 21 years ago when the band was, well established, but certainly, you know, making its way up in popularity, and getting to see the sort of the crowds grow over the years and everything has been amazing. But one of the nice parts is that we continue to do things the same way that we always have. Um, uh, these days, maybe the only difference maybe is that it requires a few more crew guys to get it done than it used to. But we still were. It's such like a family feeling operation. Um, you know, our road crew is our best friends in the world, and they just also happen to be amazing professionals at what they do. And I think that's one of the things that has kept us going the way that we have, is we've always sort of maintained the same attitude about it, which is that we're incredibly lucky to be doing this, and and we've never lost our passion for making music. Um, so it's nice to be able to say that despite growing how we have over the years, we still it still feels the same as it did when we, were where we were 20 years ago.
Amazing. And lastly, let's look ahead to the future with a prediction. I want you to finish this sentence for me. In 2025, Dropkick Murphys will.
Um, I mean, continue taking over the world, duh.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah, just state by state, country by country. We're coming.
Tim, thank you so much for your time, mate.
Thanks for checking out the interview. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and check out maytherockbewithyou.com for more interviews, more news, and much, much more.